Hey, everybody. Welcome
Hi.
to Glew University today. Excited to have everybody joining. We will get started in just a couple of moments. Looks like people are filling in here. Um, if you guys want to just say, your name, where you're from, if you're with a specific store, um, you know, always like to know who we are presenting in front of today. If you want to be shy, that's also totally fine. Um, But yeah, we're gonna get started here. We'll give it about maybe 10 more seconds, and then we'll get started.
Matching shirts on.
Yeah, we got our new glue swag on.
Glue
In
hooked us
case you
up.
forgot, who you were dealing with. Alrighty, well, cool. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Looks like just about everybody is in. Um, so I'm gonna sadly hide my face, and I'm gonna share my screen. Cool. Awesome. So,
Yep.
as I mentioned today, we are going to be doing a Glew University Glew 101 and Q&A. Should be pretty self-explanatory there. We'll be going through the basic application, walking you through all the ins and outs of the platform, and then if you have any specific questions at the end, we'll answer them for you. So what we'll actually cover today is we'll go through the basis of getting your data into Glew, which we call the S2I. We'll walk through store settings and revenue preferences. We'll actually go through the fun part, which is the Glue.io walkthrough. We'll talk about building and scheduling reports, so taking a little bit of the work out of the system for you, and then we'll show you where to find frequently asked questions and just some overall basic resources. Cool. I'm actually going to jump just right into the platform for this, and we'll go right to store settings, and I will turn it over to Katie. Oh yeah, I guess we didn't really introduce ourselves, did we? I'll introduce myself, the guy talking. My name is Christian. I'm head of our CS team here at Glew, and I'll let Katie introduce herself.
Yeah, and I'm Katie. I'm the director of client success over here at Glue. But we are really excited to share some of our tools with you today. So, Christian, are you just going to keep sharing your screen then?
Yeah, I'll walk on. You just talk and I'll direct.
Perfect. Love that. Okay, so starting in store settings, this is what we also call our S2I page. So what you can do here is you can jump in, change all of any sort of revenue preferences that you might have set up, including discounts, removing discounts, just kind of depending on whatever you want to be looking at on a gross sales or total sales, net sales, whatever it may be. We do suggest that you always have this matching whatever your e-commerce cart is displaying, just to avoid any discrepancies within the data in Glew. A few other things that we're going to show here are your lapse point. We'll get into that a little later. And then you can go into your integrations where you can connect all of your wonderful integrations. We have over 180, I believe we're up to over here at Glew. So definitely get anything connected that applies to you. If you're on the Glew Pro subscription, so our basic, SaaS product, make sure you connect anything that says Glew Pro next to it. It looks a little different in your account. Or we have the Glew Plus chip as well. So that's reserved for our Glew Plus members. If you keep on scrolling all the way down to the bottom, you'll see user settings and billing settings. Billing, you'll be able to see all your past invoices, so it makes it really easy to grab those. And then users, you have unlimited users within Glew, so definitely get everyone and anyone connected from your side of the business. It's kind of tucked away down here at the bottom, so that's where you can kind of manage everyone's account preferences. So manager, basic users, admin users, you can do all that good stuff there. And then we'll go ahead and pop in. This is our demo store, so it might look a little different. You guys should have a starter tab all the way at the top. That's basically just a high-level overview of Glew. Any of those metrics that you see in the starter tab are going to be within all the tabs to follow as well. So don't let our demo store confuse you. But starting in highlights tab, we're going to have all of our high-level KPIs coming from your e-com cart here. So if it's Shopify, we're going to be highlighting things like revenue, gross profit, products sold, AOV, refunds. And then all the way towards the bottom, there's going to be a visits and conversions tab. That's going to be combining data from your e-com cart and your GA. So if you ever see that maybe your visits or conversions aren't matching up directly to your Google or your BigCom or something like that, just know that we're doing a unique calculation here. Christian, if you don't mind scrolling all the way back to the top. Okay, cool. So up in the right-hand corner, you'll see our date picker. We make it really, really simple for you guys by clicking on that date range dropdown. You can select any of our predefined date ranges, or you can select custom date ranges really quickly. So this is probably one of the main reasons that I get tickets coming in from our CS side. So always make sure you have that date range that you're wanting to hone in on selected in that right-hand date picker, because it is kind of tucked away. But also within any of our metrics, you can kind of switch up your date ranges from there as well. So grouping by day, week, day of the month, day of the week, sorry. All of the good stuff is tucked in to here. And you can also switch up any of, your visualizations if you want to see horizontal bar charts, or if you're more of a line chart guy or girl, you can do that as well. And then one last thing to mention over here on our highlights tab is going to be up in that top right-hand corner of each metric within Glew. You can apply additional filters to the metrics. So say you wanted to see your revenue coming from only CPC Google, you can collect that first order channel is CPC, and you can easily make that toggle there. I'll let Christian catch up. I know I'm talking fast. And then also by clicking those three dots in the right-hand corner, you can apply different date ranges, edit those revenue preferences. If you wanted to see, your CPC Google without discounts, you could do that. And then you have these last two are pretty much the most important. So adding metric to new and existing reports. So what we have in Glew is this reports tab over here. If you clicked, add to a new report, it's going to shoot you straight over to your reports tab, where you can set up, Google Ads, just Katie, or if you wanted to build your own report by manager, whatever you want to do here, you can set these up, add descriptions, and then you can start to layer in new reports as well. So we make it really easy for you to have everything set up here. Then you can start to schedule these reports. You can send now if you want it shot out right now. You can send later, or you can send reoccurring. This is probably the most popular option. You can add in as many users from your account as you want. Say, hey, check this out before our marketing meeting. And then you can send this on Monday morning. You're distracting, Christian. We make him money. And then if you wanted to send it every Monday at 8 a.m. or something like that before your marketing meeting, you could easily get those reports out to your team. But yeah. And then going on to our performance tab. So this is kind of where we're going to show all of your channel data as a whole. So what we're doing with Glew that's super unique is once you have all those integrations connected in your store settings tab, we're going to pull all that data over, ingest it, and then show you all of your revenue channels broken out in a beautiful little rainbow graph. So what we're going to have here is, anything from your direct to your Facebook paid to your Instagram, all of that good stuff is going to be here. A few things that we like to mention is Glew is going to give you two different attribution models. So you'll see first order is always going to be our default attribution model. Basically, what this is telling us is more of like a lifetime value view of your customers. So say I came to you guys from a Facebook ad, every order that I make from then on will be attributed to that original Facebook sale. We do this just so you can see the long-term relationship, the long-term, success of your channels as well. And then our last click channel attribution is going to be, say I come into you guys from Facebook, but the second time I come direct because I already know who you guys are. First order will go to Facebook, second order will go to direct. So this is more of a direct feedback on ad spend sort of view. So depending on what you guys want to look at, you can always toggle that in any of our metrics that are around channel data. And then this net profit by channel metric here below, again, you can change those attributions. This is more of a numerical version of what was above that revenue by channel metric. So basically what you're seeing here is all of your ad spend. Again, you might see some zeros in your ad spend section. That's only going to show you ad spend for the channels or the integrations that you have connected. And then you'll get a nice breakdown of like all of your discounts, cost of goods, selling out from those different channels. You can click into your channels as well if you want like more of a honed in view. Once you do that, you'll be able to see that channel performance. You'll be able to see all of your campaigns that you're running on that specific channel. And then you can obviously click and choose that based on the attributions as well. So it makes it really easy to start to dig into that data. Performance advertising is going to be a direct lookalike from your Facebook ad manager. So we like to do this so you have everything under that one roof. You aren't having to log into Glew, then log into Facebook ads, then log into Google ads, and so on and so forth. So this should be a direct lookalike from your Facebook ad manager. So just pulling all those campaigns, ads, ad sets in, just giving you kind of a holistic view on that Facebook data, which makes it just really simple for your marketing team and everything like that. And then with this little drop down up in the corner, you'll see platform. You can also switch that over to Google Ads as well, just so you have everything under one roof. Our demo stores might not reflect exactly what you guys are seeing, but you should have Google Ads there as well. Email marketing. So if you're using Klaviyo, Bronto, MailChimp, Dot Digital, I knew I was missing one, we'll be able to show you a nice little honed in visualization of your email KPIs. So sends, deliveries, conversion rates, bounce rates, all that good stuff, just some clear visualizations on your email marketing data. You can scroll down to the bottom, check out all the campaigns that you're running, the send dates, the create dates, all of that good stuff. You have filtering capabilities here as well to see, based on when you sent out those email campaigns, things like that. Again, just so you have everything under one roof. Where Klaviyo or your email marketing campaign gets really, really powerful is once we get into this customer section when you can shoot out directly from Glew to Klaviyo. So I'm sure Christian will get into that once we jump in our customer section. So I will turn it back over to you for customers, Christian.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.
Sweet. So we will jump right into customers. So, okay, cool. So for customers within Glew, this is going to be a pretty powerful section of the platform. It's going to be very in-depth and there's a lot to it. So I'll keep it somewhat high level today, but show you some quick examples of some valuable predefined segments, custom segments you can build, and just a navigation of the overall section. So when you first log in, you're going to see customer list. So you can think of customer list as this is where I am going to see my sales by customers, right? Pretty simple. But it's also going to be the place where you can create any sort of custom customer cohort. And how you'll do that is you'll come in, you'll click customer list. It's going to go ahead and show you all customers. And then from there, you're going to click edit filters. Within edit filters, you're going to see a tremendous amount of options. They're all going to be labeled by what exactly we're dividing this group by. Customer details, things like email, first name, last name, order date, whether it's a first order date. Maybe you're interested in creating, people who first ordered in 2022. I want to see what my overall LTV of that customer group is, right? So I can say first order is after or on here. Say click create new segment, say 2022 new customers. In doing that, when I click create, that's going to allow us to now have created from a giant group of customers a specific view. That's simply one example. I'll go through a couple different ones as well. Let's go back to customer list. We'll pull all customers in. Another one that we can look at here is going to be things around, there's really a ton of different things you can do. If you want to do it by country, you want to do it by the exact marketing and customer tag. So I'm going to come right back to customer tag because that's a newer feature. You can also do things by percentile as well. So if you're curious, hey, I want to pull out my top 10% of revenue percentile or order percentile or AOV or profit using COGS, you can do all of that as well. Example of doing that is, if you want to run a campaign to get, increased repeat purchasing for my highest spending customers, right? Maybe I want to throw them a free gift if they make another purchase or something like that. What you can do is you can go in here, revenue percentile is greater than or equal to 90%. Same process, create new segment, save. And then what you can actually do is sync that over to Klaviyo, which I'll show you in just a minute, or whatever, or MailChimp, if you're using MailChimp. And you can actually run that campaign directly through Klaviyo. The nice thing about that is as you're pushing that action into Klaviyo, you're actually be able to track that data within Glew once you create this segment, which again, I'll show you in just a second. So that's revenue percentile. You can also do things around purchase history, which is like lifetime orders and things like that. Overall revenue. What else we got in here? And then RFM as well. If you guys are familiar with RFM, it's just kind of a type of way to look at customers, things like recency, frequency, and monetary value. If you do anything within support, if you use Zendesk, you can pull up data via that as well. And then you can also do it based on web activity. This is a very popular one as well. Katie had mentioned the first order channel and the last click. Some quick examples here would be, let's say when you're looking at your performance overview, you notice your highest LTV channel in the first order is Instagram, right? But your lowest LTV is Google Ads. So I know that I've already gone ahead and spent money to acquire the email. I know they clicked in Google Ads, but for whatever reason, these customers have a low LTV. Within that first order model, what that typically means is, hey, they're not spending a ton of money after that initial purchase. So what's our action? Well, we want to segment out those customers, push them over to Klaviyo and drive them to purchase, and then track that data within Glew, see how that LTV is performing over time. So what you do is you do first order channel is, and you would just say, Google or whatever you named it is. You want to make sure you're following that naming convention, but you do for CPC is Google. Same process there, create segment, save, and so on and so forth. Last click as well. If you want to do things like last click is email, pull every customer who is typically last purchasing through email. These are going to be great people to continue sending emails to. They like getting emails and they like buying through them. These are also great for email lookalike audiences and things like that. If you want to do, people who you want to, send ads to them where you can get them through that first purchase, and then over time they'll maybe be a loyal customer via email. In the spirit of talking about Facebook lookalike audiences, we'll jump into actual customer segments now. So customer segments, this is going to be where those predefined and custom segments live. So the custom segments I just mentioned, we said, hey, your 2022 new customers. This is a demo store, so I don't believe it has any data, but I'll just load this up and show you what the actual KPIs are. But what you'll be able to see here is in this custom segment that I built, I'm now able to see data from that grouping. You'll be able to see things like orders, revenue, lifetime value. You'll also be able to see the actual customers that live in that segment. Again, demo store, so I apologize, there's no data in here. And then also products purchased. This is really interesting as well. As a quick example, just to kind of show you, there's a lot of different things you can do. But if we go back to that channel data using things like last click, you can filter by campaign, right? If I go back to filters here, I could add in a last click campaign, which is maybe like an email campaign that I ran for my black pants, right? So maybe I pop in, my last click campaign is black pants. I come in here, I save it. I take a look at the data. I can see the customers that are in that. I can also see the products purchased, right? If these are first ordered customers in 2022 from this email campaign I just started running, you can actually see how many of those customers are ordering the black pants. Maybe that's the product I'm advertising in that email, and how many are ordering other products as well. So there's a lot of data here in Glew, and there's a lot of kind of, not to say endless, but there's a lot of ways that you can slice and dice this data to take a quick look. So again, custom segments, you can see those KPIs. Now, we're not going to make you do all the work. We are going to have predefined segments as well. So if I jump back into segments, I can move over to predefined. Predefined segments are going to be segments that Glew has actually created on your behalf. So these are ones that we think, hey, these are really valuable for you. I won't go through every single one since I know you guys have Glew and you can read through all of them. But you can see things like abandoned cart, full price customers, people who have never used a discount code, high AOV customers. This is a great one for Facebook lookalike audiences or any lookalike audience that you can push emails into. High AOV is basically people who, when they buy from you, they buy a lot. I'm a high AOV guy. If I'm buying online, I typically like to get a bunch of packages in the mail. Some other ones here would be most active customers. These are people who are placing a ton of orders. Another great one for Facebook lookalike audiences. We want to use the customers who buy a lot from us to go find customers who also like to buy a lot. Multi-purchase customers, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Never purchase customers, if you want to do this one as a Klaviyo sync, set that up to where you can push those over and run those never purchase campaigns. And the last three I want to talk about is these: active, at risk, and lost. So active, at risk, and lost actually goes back to a metric that Katie briefly mentioned in store settings, which is called lapse point. So lapse point is a metric that you'll see in store settings right under revenue preferences. If you haven't looked yet, jump into your Glew account, take a peek at what your lapse point is. Lapse point is effectively the amount of time you have to upsell a customer after their most recent purchase. So what we do is we take a bunch of repeat purchasing data, we crush it into an algorithm, and then we pop that number out. I'm going to use 100 as a very basic lapse point metric, but let's say your lapse point is 100. So what that means is, if, hey, I came to your store, I bought today, you as a business have 100 days, and whatever you want to do in that customer experience to make sure that once I get my product, I need to buy again within 100 days, or the percentage of me buying again becomes extraordinarily low. So there's 3 stages of your lapse point. There is the active stage. That is going to be the first 80% of that 100 days. Simple math, right? 0 to 100 days, first 80% is the first 80 days of that purchasing. I'm an active customer in there. In this time frame, we want to make sure we are adding value to my life, right? We want to make sure we have a great product. That kind of goes without saying. We also want to do what extra things do we do? Well, firstly, we want to make sure that they get a very quick shipping notification. We're very, upfront about any shipping delays, or hey, you're getting it quicker than you thought. Just basically being very on top of that early communication. You also want to avoid pushy emails, right? The kind of an uncomfortable thing is when you buy from a company and the next day you open up your email inbox and you have 13 new ads from them trying to get you to buy again. You're like, hey, you know what? I haven't even got my product yet. Why don't you kind of back off, right? So what we say in the active stage is add value. Companies I've seen that are really successful in this stage are doing things like sending you, hey, a weekly, like a lot of these, I like to buy clothes from like surfing brands. A lot of times they'll send you like these really cool monthly newsletters with, articles around, things that are like-minded to you, like surfing articles about surfers or interviews with artists or musicians, Spotify playlists. And then, in those photography or interviews, the people are wearing the clothes, right? And so it just kind of creates a really cool brand experience. So anything where you can get a little outside of the box, like content, do that in the active stage, right? So if you're not doing anything like that, you're just being very transactional, I would ramp that up. I think you'll see a lot of improvement in that early repeat conversion. The at-risk is going to be that last 20%. So that's going to be days from 81 to 100, right? This is where we want to change our tonality in our emails to customers. We want to be a little bit more aggressive. We want to be offering coupon codes. We want to be pushing the agenda like, hey, we need you to buy again, or maybe you're just a one-time buyer. So at risk is, again, that is where we're pushing customers to buy. Now, lost customers, this is going to be one where we can do quite a few different things here. Lost customers are going to be people who are beyond that lapse point, right? So in our mind, they are lost. They're not coming back. So what we want to do here is be a little bit more reactive and less proactive. So we probably want to pull up this maybe, once a quarter. Sometimes I do it like once every lapse point. So if your lapse points is 100 days, maybe we do this campaign every 100 days. But what you're going to do is you're going to click filters. You're going to click edit filters. And you're going to do status is lost. Now, you can just send a blanket statement email to all of these individuals. But what I've actually seen be a lot more successful for customers is to divide this up into different tiers and have different messaging for each of those. So let's start with the big tier, right? One thing I'm going to look at is lifetime orders and lifetime revenue. So within this section, we're looking at that. So we'll say, hey, I'm going to skip ahead here to one section real fast. But one kind of good idea to do lifetime revenue within this segment is to think about your overall LTV as a business when we're looking at where our tiers are going to start. So I'm just going to quickly pull this up in our demo store, and I'll just show you where to find your LTV. We'll come back and spend a little bit more time here. But so your lifetime value here is, let's say it's 123. Okay, cool. That's a great starting point. So let's say our VIP customers are going to be 250, and we want them to have 3 or more orders, and we're going to name this lost customers plus VIP gold. Not golf on the mind. Lost customers plus VIP gold. So the idea here is that these customers are lost, right? They haven't purchased in over 100 days, but at one time, they were a very valuable customer to me. They were a VIP. So what I want to do here is I want to retarget these customers and do something a little bit extra, you know? Maybe we send them a free sweatshirt or t-shirt or koozie or whatever it is that's super, costly to your business as like a thank you, or just change your tonality of your email, you know, be a little bit more like one-to-one, right? As a consumer, if you ever feel important to a business, chances are you're probably going to convert again. So I recommend doing this and, you know, play around with the numbers a little bit, see how it kind of shakes out. You know, you want to make sure you have in that VIP category a decent amount of customers, and then that LTV, you want that to be pretty high, right? You know, if your average LTV is 123, you do a customer list and you're looking at 3,000 people with an LTV of like 500, that's a pretty solid start. Maybe that's our silver category. And you can kind of go from there. So again, we could spend a lot of time in customer segments, but just one final one I want to talk about is going to be our new addition to our customer list, which is actually going to be customer tags. And what that's going to allow you to do is, you know, within Glew, we're able to pull in a lot of different fields via these different APIs and allow you to filter. But within a lot of your shopping carts, you're going to be able to create filters that are really unique based on things like products purchased, you know, type of customer, you know, size they bought, you know, category, right? Is it a wholesale buyer? Is it a D2C brand? Anything like that. So what you can do is actually come in here and create like a high level filter of that. So within customer tags is take a look at what you have. If you're not utilizing customer tags, I would highly recommend talking with your team, seeing what kind of different ways of looking at customer tags we should look at. And again, you can kind of go deeper into that. So again, like it will work just as everything else does. It's just a very powerful section. So very excited to have that out. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Cool. All right. Speaking of customer tags, that is the next section here. This is actually going to show you a breakdown of all your customer tags. Again, sorry, we're limited to data here. Actually, no, I think our demo store does have this. Yes, it is. Cool. So in tags, you'll be able to see things like revenue, overall customers, orders, AOV, things like that. You can also see how those tags are performing against each other. And you can also see it tabled out as well. So we just put this in a very clean, easy way to observe how they're performing. We already talked about segments, and then let's jump into lifetime value. So lifetime value, this is going to be data around the lifetime of your store. And things like this are not going to be date range applicable. So your lifetime value, what we're looking for here is the performance of this LTV graph over time. In our demo store, we're obviously going to put a very ideal LTV growth pattern here. It's very nice and easy to the right. Things to look out for on your LTV graph, if it's kind of like all over the place, you know, maybe we're a new store, we're gaining new customers and getting repeat buyers and things are a little bit all over the place. But if you ever notice your LTV is straight up in the air, so almost like a cliff, that's a sign that we need to start spending more money to acquire new customers. Because if your LTV is going vertical, that means that you're not getting enough new buyers to anchor down that LTV. So you're typically getting a lot of cheap upsells, but with cheap upsells typically means you have a lot of money left over to spend on ad dollars. So use that money, go spend more money advertising. On the other end of the spectrum, if you see this kind of dropping down and it's falling off a cliff, that is going to typically mean that your LTV is going down, but more likely you'll see your LTV kind of level off around like Black Friday, where you're acquiring a lot of new customers. because typically new customers have a lower LTV, right? So that may kind of taper that off. So if you see that, quick action there. Let's set up a segment in Glew, customers orders equals 1 during whatever Black Friday sale we are running. And let's do some very special targeting to those customers. Some other metrics here you'll see are repeat customer rate. If you're curious, this is a great one to focus on increasing. You'll see purchase frequency, which is the amount of times your overall customers purchase. Another one that we'd love to see increase. Average time between purchases. This is one we'd like to see decrease. And then relationship length, which we'd like to see increase. So these are really good lifetime metrics. I highly recommend creating a report, like Katie mentioned earlier. Add these metrics to a report and have them sent out to you like monthly, and set goals to your team. Say, hey guys, let's see if we can't get our purchase frequency up to 1.2 or 1.5 or 1.8. Right, let's be ambitious. So that's a good way to track that sort of data within Glew. We're also going to have new versus repeat customers here. So as we mentioned, looking at that LTV, if you do see it dropping down and you come down here, let's say I'm grouping by month, and I say, oh, wow, in March, I had, 15 times as many new customers as I usually do. We had an awesome influencer write a TikTok about our brand and it's blowing up. That's awesome. Cool. So LTV went down just a little bit, but we know now we have a massive customer base that we're going to use things like Lapse Point, Facebook lookalike audiences, and pushes to Klaviyo to drive that revenue up from that group. This will show you by month, and this is going to show you by the date frame here. So you'll notice these numbers will not actually add up to each other, and that's by design. This is showing you that in-month view. So, hey, January, and this is showing you for this entire date range. So to give you an easy example here, if I extended this date range all the way back in time to the beginning of your store, everybody would be a new customer, right? Because that date range is showing you all-time purchases, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. They will give you different value props. This section down here, LTV profitability by channel, this is going to be looking at channel data through the lens of customers. So you'll see things like, again, your different channels. We still have the same attribution models. We have first and last click. We have new versus repeat customers, ad spend, a lot of these things Katie mentioned, but you'll see like LTV over CAC, lifetime ROAS, and customer acquisition cost. As an overall action item here with first order, this is a longer term view, whereas last click is going to be probably more like a 6 month and less. First order is probably looking at this, once or twice a year. But first order, I really typically like to tell people to use this metric, which is lifetime value. And as I mentioned it earlier, basically how you look at it is you want to see, what channels have a high LTV, right? We want to understand if I acquire a customer through Instagram, maybe they perform really, really well over the long term. Maybe the orders are low, right? I don't get that many orders through Instagram. So maybe I should ramp up acquiring customers through Instagram because that LTV is high. Yeah, we're not converting great, but when we do, they buy a lot from us, right? And then as we mentioned, lower LTV channels, our focus is going to be hyper segmenting those out and driving repeat purchasing campaign. And kind of again, add this to a report, send it to you monthly. You can track how it's performing. And what you can find out is, hey, if I'm driving more sales to Instagram, is that lowering LTV? And then as I'm doing more repeat purchasing, is it pushing it up? Again, as I mentioned, customers is an extremely powerful section of Glew. Get in there, see what you can come up with. If you find cool different ways to use it, let me know. Awesome. Let's jump into products now. So products is going to be very similar to customers in the way that it's broken out. There's just some different use cases because we're looking at things through the lens of products. The first thing you'll notice is you're going to have this table as well. You're able to see how whatever date frame you're looking at, how those products are performing. We have two views, variant and configurable. Think of that as like the parent-child relationship. Variant is going to be sizes. Configurable is be like, the shoe. Again, you can see things like orders, quantity sold, refunds, just some top-line KPIs around that data. We also have predefined segments as well within products. You'll see things like high volume, high gross margin, discounted hot and cold products, how these guys are performing over whatever period you selected. Top products bundle, which I'll come back to. most abandoned products, and then top from different channels as well. There's two I'd like to show you here. The first is going to be most reordered products. So we've seen subscription businesses kind of blossom in the last couple of years, and that's because it's a really easy way to drive two major metrics that companies look at and bosses look at, which is repeat purchases and LTV, right? So if we can get people on a subscription, they're going to buy and buy and buy, and their LTV is going to go up and up and up. So most reordered products is actually going to show you which products your customers are buying again and again, right? If you jump in here and you look in Glew and you see, oh wow, everybody's buying our white t-shirt over and over again. Maybe you should have a subscription for your white t-shirt. Just an idea. So that's a good one to check out. And then another one that investors and bosses really like to look at is top products bundled. So top products bundled, what we're going to do there is we're actually going to try to understand when our customers combine products, what are they actually doing? And so when you think of this, you're thinking of AOV, right? I want to understand, how do I increase AOV? And one of the ways is through doing bundles. So what this is going to show us again, this is dummy data. So bear with us, as this may not make total sense that the 0 is the highest. But let's say Blue Suede jeans had 150 bundles, right? Well, that's awesome. So we know that whenever people buy the Blue Suede jean, they're buying something else. Well, awesome. First step there, maybe we offer anybody who bundles with the Blue Suede jean 5% off on whatever they add into that bundle. Well, maybe we come in here and we see, what are they most often bundling with this product, right? If it's things like, a t-shirt, but for whatever reason, one t-shirt is really high, well, maybe there's an opportunity to have like a preset bundle, right? This is going to be kind of things if you're like selling different flavors of products and you notice that people are consistently buying them together, then maybe you create like a 3-pack, that kind of idea, or 2-pack. But it can also play in any sort of industry or product sale. But that's really the idea there, is to see how those are performing. And those preset bundles can, encourage a behavior that's happening naturally and drive AOV, right? Which is awesome. Higher order value means more money for less orders and less work in the warehouse. Cool. So definitely play around with segments. Another cool thing that I like about product lists is you're going to see this metric here, customer lifetime value. So, we talk about revenue performance, right? And we want to understand what products are selling fast, what revenue is for them during that time period. But one thing that's also very interesting to understand is the quality of the customer purchasing those products. And that's what customer LTV is going to show us. So what we're going to actually want to do here is we're going to pin customer LTV, and we are going to pin orders. And what this is going to show you is orders and customer LTV right next to each other. What I'm going to first do is rank customer LTV and see what my highest LTV is. Okay, cool. So the Lauren ankle boot is the highest LTV. Okay, that's 11 orders. Well, let me switch over to orders and see, hey, is that a statistically significant amount of orders? Maybe it's not only 11 versus 42, but it's not that far off. So the idea here is, what we want to do with these products is, if you're noticing a product with a decent amount of orders, right, that's within a statistical appropriate amount, that has a high customer LTV, well, these are diamond products, right? These are products that we should be using in our follow-up emails, using in our active stage, or definitely in our at-risk stage, to advertise. Use them in our app, and in our initial advertisements, things on Facebook ads or TikTok, Google, wherever you're advertising these days. Put somebody who's well dressed in that product, or whatever cool creative ideas you can come up with, because for whatever reason, the characteristics of people that are converting on that product are representing a high lifetime value customer. So in everything we do, we want to acquire customers who don't just buy once. And that's what a lot of the things in Glew come back to, is how do we find that right customer? And then we get them, how do we make sure they stay? So customer LTV, check it out. It's a super powerful metric. Cool. Inventory I'll go through as well. Inventory metrics are pretty basic. We want to make sure that we have things in stock when they're selling, and that we are stocking them at the rate that they are selling. So you're going to see quantity available versus quantity sold. Again, this is within that date range. You'll see sell-through rate. So this is telling you, what percentage of sales to stocking you're performing. Inventory velocity is another way of looking at that data, and then depletion days. So a quick thing with depletion days to look at here. If you are a company that it takes you like 60 to 90 to 100 days to restock, make sure your depletion, you have a report that's called, let's say 13 days or less on inventory, right? This is going to show you any product that is under, like, based on your current selling rate, your depletion days are less time than you have to restock it, right? We don't ever want that to happen. Get this sent every single day. This is a great report to have. It's going to show you anytime you need to get something restocked. So I highly recommend setting that up. Some other cool stuff: retail value, holding costs. One of my favorite parts about Glew is we have definitions over everything. So if you're ever curious how we're calculating something, it's right there for you. Similarly to customer tags, you have product tags. Can't filter off of these within customers, but you can table it here. This is going to be able to look at things like you can see here, pretty basic, shoes, men's, large, small, different things like that, and seeing that all tabled out for you. If you don't produce your own products, you're a reseller, and you want to see how your vendors are stacking up, who you need to spend a little bit more money with, who you may need to renegotiate your contract. This is going to show you all those vendors broken out, again, with those metrics that you're going to want to see. Cost Manager is included in Glew. So a long time ago, COGS were not available in a lot of shopping carts, so we built this as a workaround. These days, it's pretty common for that to be something that just comes naturally in a shopping cart. So if you do have COGS already in your system, we'll go ahead and pull that in automatically. But if for whatever reason you want to manually update your costs, you can still do that. Just keep in mind, if you are manually updating your costs in Glew, that is going to override whatever your system says. So if you're doing it well in that system, pull it into Glew. We'll give you great metrics around profit margins and things like that. The last thing I'll show you in products is each individual product is going to have this nice page, which gives you a lot of great metrics around it. We'll give you, like sales performance, summary of the product revenue, orders, AOV, repeat versus new customers of that product, inventory trends, refund trends. You can see that CLTV again, the often bundled, overall, if there's any variance, and then the customers who are buying this. So this is another great way to, look into different customers and how they're performing when they purchase specific products. Cool. Well, I have been talking for a little bit, so I'm going to let Katie take over orders.
Sweet. Yeah. So our orders tab is just going to be basically all of your orders as a whole in your orders list. So you can apply filters here as well if you wanted to do like shipping equals 0. Christian, do you mind toggling for me?
Yeah.
Sorry. Shipping equals 0 in a filter, or you can search anything on the specific order ID. You have, the same order or filtering capabilities that you do in your customer list that you do here. So any sort of last click channels, first click channels, if you wanted to see like what orders all came from, your last email marketing campaign, you can do that here and layer those filtering capabilities in, and then create segments from there as well. And then shipping. So if you have ShipStation, ShipCentral, we'll be able to pull those connections in here. You'll be able to see a breakdown of like your UPS, your DHgate, all that stuff. And then, or DHL, sorry. I'm thinking about shopping right now. And then you'll see a breakdown of where all those orders are at, and you can check the statuses below in the shipping orders as well. Discounts is going to be one of my favorite sections of Glew. If you click into there, you'll be able to see, Christian, would you mind clicking into discounts? If you click into discounts, you'll be able to see your total discounts, your attachment rates, all the revenue that you've gained with orders that contain discounts. A lot of flexibility here to see like the AOV of your discounted sections. And then if you scroll down, you can see all of the active discounts that you have running now. So a lot of people that are working with influencers and things like that really love this active discount section. You'll be able to see, compare your influencers against each other, and then you'll be able to see the performance of any of your discount codes as well, which is really interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much it for orders. And then Subscriptions, you got it, Christian.
Yeah. So subscriptions, what we'll typically have here is recharge and recurly. Subscriptions, you can kind of think of this as very similar to the customer view. Subscription and charges is going to be, looking at things from the, the subscriptions and charges layer, and seeing how that's performing. You can come in here and do basic filters as well. You can filter off of things, like plan, charge date, prepay, location, variance, and things like that, status. And you can see how those customers are performing. You can also see cancellation, reason, and note. This is a common thing that people like to sort by. If you want to build any specific subscriber lists and kind of see how like different cohorts within your subscribers are performing, this is where you do that. Same kind of filtering here under edit filters. You can filter by a lot of different things. So definitely jump in here and play around. Plans, it's kind of thinking of it as like, whereas subscribers as customers, plans is like products, and you can filter off of those as well and see how your different plans are performing. You can see things like lifetime purchases, average MRR, LTV, and churn rate. You can also see overall retention as well here. You can see like, hey, people who sign up in April, end of month, second month, and things like that, how they're performing. And you can also see relative versus absolute. We had mentioned about the reporting section of Glew. So I think this is something that's a little underrated within our system. So I definitely recommend using this section here. My reports is going to be every single report that you have built. Again, anywhere in Glew you see those three little dots, you can either create a new report off of that or add that to an existing report. It's very powerful because it allows you to, one, makes things faster. If you have 6 reports that you use every day and you just want them in one place, you're always looking at it at, once a week, last 7 days, set the date filter to last 7 days, add it to a report. Every time you pop in there, it's going to show you the last 7 days. If you look at everything on a yesterday view, set it to yesterday. And you can also, again, add in any other metric to an existing report. So you do that here with this add metric. And then for even more ease of use, schedule it, right? You don't have to jump into the platform every day. If it's something you just need to say, hey, what's my number for this week? Oh, okay, it's there. Boom, go, and you're rocking and rolling. Amazon is in Glew as well. Amazon data is mostly going to be very high level just because of how Amazon likes to hide things from customers of theirs. But you will see top line KPIs here. Sorry, don't get too excited. Our demo store has fake emails. Yours will not. It will have some unique Amazon ID because they hide all of your consumers from you. You'll also be able to see product performance as well. This is good to know too, how your products are performing overall on Amazon, stocking and things like that. And then orders as well. It's going to show you an order table, just seeing how those are performing over time. BI Tunnel, this is we're going to do a webinar for our Glew Plus customers and, people who are interested in what that is. But this is an advanced solution that doesn't apply to the out-of-box solution. So we'll skip that for now. But if you do have questions, just reach out to support@glew.io. We'll put you in touch with somebody who can navigate that for you. Well, awesome. So that is going to be it for the high level 101. As you can imagine, this is a pretty intense tool with a lot of different metrics, but hopefully this gave you a quick insight into a lot of the different things that you can use it for. So cool. Let's go ahead and jump into questions if anybody has any. I know we covered a lot, so you may be a little bit overwhelmed, but if you do have any specific questions, let us know. If not, you can always email support@glew.io later, and somebody will get back to you.
I answered just one question in the chat about this being recorded, and you will get a recorded version after we close out the webinar today. So that will be coming to your email for anyone who's registered for the event today. But other than that, I haven't seen any questions coming, Christian.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we typically try to keep these under 50 minutes. So we have 40 seconds left. So it looks like no questions for today. But again, like I mentioned, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to, if you're talking to somebody on our sales team or CS team, or support@glew.io. The next webinar we are doing will not be a 101. It's actually going to be totally dedicated to lifetime value and ways that you can use Glew to drive that. So we'll cover some things that we mentioned today, but it's just more of a hyper focus on that. So if you have a big investor meeting coming up where you're going to talk about, hey, how are we going to increase LTV? You don't want to miss that one.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day. And we'll hope to see you all in the next one. Cheers.
Bye, guys.